Good afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to be taking a little trip back into the early 1800s. We're going to be talking about the first steamboat that entered the Mississippi River and made its way into New Orleans. This happened in 1812 specifically. Coincidentally, that steamboat was also named New Orleans. The boat was called New Orleans. It was named after the city itself. It was the first steamboat to successfully ever travel down the Ohio and Mississippi rivers, starting in Pittsburgh and ending its journey in New Orleans. This trip took weeks, really more than weeks. Add that together, it's really months. Faced all kinds of problems like low water levels, mechanical issues, but in the end, it made it. Huge turning stone in New Orleans history, huge key movement in our economic growth that we've seen after this. Um, when it docked, it kicked off a revolution, like I was saying. The New Orleans was designed by Robert Fulton. When I say New Orleans, obviously the boat was designed by Robert Fulton. He was the main engineer and one of the biggest push factors in this being possible. And right here is a picture of Robert Fulton. He looks kind of like a mad scientist in my opinion. And this right here to the right is a painted picture, of course, of the New Orleans arriving in the New Orleans like arriving in the Mississippi River, and this was some of the residents of New Orleans at the time coming to greet the ship. Um before the steamboat though Before the steamboat, shipping goods down the Mississippi River could take months. This was an absolutely game changer. And getting back upriver from like the previous means of transportation, getting back upriver was a hassle for them, if not impossible. So the steamboat just changed the game entirely. It was absolutely revolutionizing. It easily dredged through the water there, back upstream, wherever it needed to go. The trips on the steamboat would take days to weeks instead of months compared to other forms of transportation. So this completely changed transportation down south. New Orleans quickly became the economic heart of the Mississippi River after this. Um, the city boomed with new jobs at the port, more ships on the water, massive growth in the cotton, sugar, and tobacco industries. Products from far places like Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania could now reach the Gulf of Mexico and beyond that. But it wasn't just about business. Steamboats also brought culture. They carried people, music, ideas, stories up and down the river. Some of the first riverboat jazz bands actually performed on a lot of these boats. Writers like Mark Twain would later romanticized steamboat life in books that shaped how we see the American South nowadays. How a lot of people see the American South. Um, these vessels became like icons in a way, symbols of freedom, progress, and Southern pride. Uh, Over time, steamboats helped shape New Orleans as a global port city, becoming a detrimental factor of what New Orleans was at the time, attracting immigrants, fueling urban development, and making one of the busiest and most diverse cities in America during the 19th century. And if you'll visit New Orleans today, actually, you can still ride a steamboat. They're like commercial use or like tourist use now. The steamboat Natchez is one of them, actually, and it must have been like over 200 years ago when the original New Orleans arrived for the first time. So it's a crazy parallel to think about. So the next time you hear that whistle across the Mississippi, remember it started with one boat, the New Orleans, named after our city. So, and a bold idea to power the future with steam and a powerful way to make it upstream and a powerful way to absolutely change the game. And here I have a few pictures of New Orleans. Like this is an older map of the Mississippi River, exactly where the New Orleans would have traveled through and where it would have docked around in this area. I don't know specifically. This is a more of a later time when steamboats are more commonly used, but as well you can still see more charters like boats, like more sailboats. I just call them pirate ships, but more sailboats in the background. Still here, and you see a mix of there's a steamboat right down there bottom of the dock, and then a wide, vast scale of sailboats and others. And this is a little animated photo of New Orleans ports and a wide variety of traders, culture, steamboats. I don't really know if you can see sailboats in the back of that, but just a huge port and another factor that proves how bustling New Orleans was at this time. So thank you.